Let's discuss a very interesting question from UPSC GS Mains 2022 from culture portion. The question says that discuss the main contribution of Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. Now, before we start discussing about this question, a basic thing that we should know here that Guptas created a powerful empire in ancient India in north, and the powerful rulers were like Chandragupta I, Chandragupta II, and Samudragupta. On the other hand, the imperial Cholas created a powerful empire in south in early medieval time, and the powerful rulers were like Raja, and Rajendra I. Now, if we talk about their contribution towards Indian heritage and culture, let's first discuss something about the Guptas. A super easy and super interesting information that we can use here is about Ajanta cave art. Now, the Ajanta cave art, everybody knows about that, and certainly Ajanta is in Aurangabad of Maharashtra, and it is known for the fresco mural painting. So, what do you mean by fresco mural painting? First of all, we have to understand that mural painting is cave wall painting. Ajanta is known for that, but a special type of mural painting, that is fresco painting. Fresco painting is done on the wet plaster so that the colors would seep in. And once the colors seep in and the plaster is dry, that would give a very permanent nature to the painting. And if this is so, the fresco mural paintings of Ajanta, they're world famous. UNESCO World Heritage Site it is. Now, a prominent example of Gupta art is Ajanta art. Basically, in Ajanta, the development started in times of Satavahanas, but maximum development came in Gupta period. The second most important example in Gupta time period that we can cite here is that the temple architecture in north prominently started in Gupta time period. Again, a basic information here that in north, the temple architecture style is called Nagara style. The development of Nagara style of temple architecture in north started in Gupta time period. Initially, it was very basic, later it became elaborate. One good example of that is the Dasavatar temple. Dasavatar temple of Deoghar in UP. Another prominent example from Gupta time period, we can discuss something about Kalidas, one of the greatest writers in world history. Certainly, Kalidas, when you talk about the great works of Kalidas, like we can talk about here Abhigyan Shakuntalam. Abhigyan Shakuntalam. You talk about Malvikagnimitram. You talk about so many other books like Raghuvansam. You talk about Ritu Samhar, so many other works, Kalidas, and so many such other writers in Gupta time period. They made the Gupta time as a classical age in Sanskrit literature. Another prominent example is the development in the field of science and technology, and we can cite many examples. Like one of the most prominent examples would be the great mathematician and astronomer Aryabhat. He wrote the book Aryabhatiya. They are in mathematics, and he talked about so many new concepts, the value of pi. He talked about also something about astronomy, giving the information about the solar and lunar eclipses. Big, great scientists and the mathematicians from the time of Guptas. Certainly, we can cite them as the example. Again, a great example is from the field of cultural heritage of religion. It was the time when Bhagavatism and Shaivism had taken a very, very prime form. Now, it's very interesting that the initial start of religious ideology in India as a prominent form in Brahmanical system in Vedic time that is started, but by this time Brahmanical system had started showing transformation towards Hinduism with so many different traits, like rise of the idea of bhakti, Vaishnavism, Shaivism. No? At the same time, the temple architecture would be there. At the same time, the image worship would become very prominent. All these traits became very prominent from the Gupta time period. Now, if you talk about the contribution of the imperial Cholas, one of the greatest contribution of the Cholas came in the field of temple architecture. Very interesting and very important to know here that the temple architecture in South is called Dravida style of architecture. Dravidian style of architecture started developing in times of Pallavas, but reaches zenith, mature form in times of imperial Cholas. The great imperial Chola king Raja constructed the famous temple of Brihadeshwar, also called Rajarajeshwar temple in Tanjore. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a perfect example of the Dravidian style of architecture. Another legacy of the imperial Cholas in art and culture is the prominent development of the bronze images of Nataraja, which were made in times of imperial Cholas. Now, the famous images of Nataraja, the beautiful images of Nataraja, they were basically made through the lost wax technique. Now, what was this lost wax technique, and that is still very much in use, is that first a wax image is used. So, wax is very easy to carve out, delicate, and then over the wax image, a clay coating is applied, and then it is baked. So the wax would melt away, and in the hollow part, then the molten metal is put, and that takes the shape of the image, and this is how the beautiful images like Nataraja, they're carved out. Another example from the time of Imperial Cholas is that there was a great development in the field of Tamil literature. Basically, it is considered a golden period in the field of Tamil literature. The best example is the version of Ramayana that was written by the great scholar Kamban. It's a very interesting version of Ramayana, where even Ravana has been given a very positive character, and certainly that makes reading Ramayana of this version still more interesting. Again, if you talk about the time of imperial Cholas, they patronized the saints called Alvar saints and Nayanar saints. The Alvar saints, they were basically Vaishnavite saints, and Nayanar saints, basically they were Shaivite saints. So by this time, Vaishnavism and Shaivism as the form of bhakti movement, they became very prominent in South. Another great contribution from imperial Cholas. Now we can easily figure out that writing the main structure of such type of questions is actually very, very simple in exam. Equally simple is writing introduction and conclusion. Can we not introduce in this question that the Gupta period and Chola period can be considered classical age in cultural development in North and South India respectively? True it is. What is classical age? Classical age is something that would set the parameter for the generations to come. Think about the Sanskrit literature of Kalidas in Gupta time period. Don't you think that it set a standard for the generations to come? It was classical in standard. Think about the Dravidian architecture and Rajarajeshwar and Brihadeshwar, or the Brihadeshwar temple there in Tanjore in times of Raja. Would it not set the parameter for Dravidian art for generations to come? Certainly, they can be considered as the classical stages in North and South respectively. And if we talk about conclusion, can we not say that certainly the Gupta rulers and the Chola, imperial Cholas, certainly left a permanent mark on Indian heritage and cultural scene, which has survived even long after their political achievements are gone. Look, the imperial Cholas, they achieved big imperial expansion, and the imperial Guptas, they also control a big part of North India. But gradually their political achievements were reversed when other powers, they rose in their place. But certainly culture is something that cannot be reversed. It's something that would get embedded into society. So if you talk about Dravidian architecture, if you talk about Nagara style of temple architecture, if you talk about Shaivism, Bhaktism, there is still part of us. So their cultural legacy, in fact, has still survived. Now, this is what I wanted to discuss with you in this session of History Simplified. Very soon, I would be there with another session of History Simplified series. Thank you.